My name is Matthew Fonseca. I'm part of Art 305, and this is my critique video on the two artworks that I selected. I title it Man and Nature. Francisco Goya and Claude Monet are masters of their craft and art. They have both created such impactful works over their art careers that their names live on through time. Goya was a Romanticism painter, while Monet was an Impressionist painter. Both their works are radically different, yet some parallels can be drawn from them. Two of their pieces that strike me the most and I feel are significant today are Goya's 3rd of May, 1808, and Monet's Water Lilies, 1919. I think what's most telling to begin with is the subject matter of both paintings. For Monet, it is this beautiful pond of water that flows through the green lilies. It is calm and serene. In contrast with Goya, there is an execution about to take place. Faceless French soldiers are armed and ready to gun down Spanish civilians. There is fear and sadness that overtakes the Spanish workers. And so, looking at the both of them simultaneously, I feel the beauty of nature and the horrors of man, of war. The 3rd of May, 1808, may be more relevant than ever due to the conflict in Ukraine and Russia. You hear reports of Russia's atrocities against the Ukraine civilians, innocent people being executed for no reason, false lies and sanctions of Russia giving civilians time to get away and flee from the war. As for the Water Lilies, 1919, I feel they still matter because nature is constant. It's beautiful and everlasting. When the human race fades from Earth, plants and water will still be there. Nature will outlive our species, even as we adapt and live through the pandemic. The lilies and flowers flow like they always have. We can focus on the different aspects of the two as well. Monet was an impressionist, and they sought to capture from life. And what that means is you would carry your canvas and easel with you, and you would sit outside to paint a tree or hill or building. Basically, anything you see in front of you with your own eyes, you are drawing from life. Some say this is also an element of realism, to paint and capture what we deem is real. The Impressionist movement was a rejection of all the things that came before it. Artists were tired of the standard status quo and sought to make a change. Many did not accept this, and they were mocked for their movement. Art was no longer clear cut, it was loose and up to one's interpretations. Editors summarize the most conspicuous characteristic of Impressionism is painting was an attempt to accurately and objectively record visual reality in terms of transient effects of light and color. Romanticism is a period about ideas and personal feelings, strong emotions that a person feels when looking at an artwork. Yet there is also interest in the natural world around them. Catherine Kelly Gallitz best describes, with its emphasis on the imagination and emotion, Romanticism emerged as a response to the disillusionment with the Enlightenment values of reason and order in the aftermath of the French Revolution of 1789. Goya had excelled in this. I would even think that some of his art is similar to the Impressionists. The way he would draw people was very loose and gestural. Very minimal detail would be seen. He was a court painter during his time, and later throughout his life, he created his black paintings. The best way I can summarize his black paintings is they were a private collection not meant to be seen by the public. This series shared some of the most visceral and haunting imagery on human nature. It's not for the faint of heart. The 3rd of May 1808 has some interesting iconography in it. Looking at the main subject, you will see the Spanish man in the white shirt. His arms are raised up as he surrenders himself to the French soldiers. The lights that surround him and white shirt are almost Christ like. Light draws our eyes towards the man with his arms up. It suggests that the man is like Jesus, as he once was on the crucifix. We can see a great big spotlight that's casted over people who are about to be shot. Then you have the shadows that surround the faceless French soldiers. His use of lines is loose and very gestural. They aren't exact and well defined. It sometimes makes me think they are meant to be caricatures. I believe Christine Zappella writes the best example that puts it together. A powerful anti war statement. Goya is not only criticizing the nations that wage war on one another, but is also admonishing us, the viewer, for being complicit in acts of violence, which occur not between abstract entities like countries, but between human beings standing a few feet away from one another. Water Lilies, 1919, has no line. I think with this, its strength are colors and light. The light very subtly resembles a mirror. It reflects off the center and to the sides of the lilies. Eliza Apperly shares, in the water lily paintings, Monet eschewed traditional perspective, concentrating his gaze on the surface of the pond. The results were a dazzling, disintegrating, and for the first time radically daring vision. The water flows themselves are far from being the whole scene. Monet explained, really, they are just a accompaniment. The essence of the motif is the mirror of water, whose appearance alters at every moment. And so I think the biggest meaning I drew from these two are, while humanity is cruel to themselves, nature lives on. It carries on long before we exist and continues to long after we pass.